talk about the social contract, and like it was his response to the protests, and also, you know, I guess also related to like tone policing and what we're allowed to do and how we're supposed to behave if we're angry or in in a oppressed, marginalized group. And he explains it much better, but he was talking about expectation of social contracts between the government or the police and people and each other. And if you're constantly having he was saying, as an African American, if the contract is constantly being broken,
yes,
then do they still have to obey those rules if other people are not? Yeah.
I think that, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The trust is no longer there, understandably.
But not even the trust. It's like there's no. It's as if there aren't any rules, because if they're outside the rules, then.
But I guess what I mean is a contract is based on trust, isn't it? It's based on the idea that each party will behave in a particular way going forwards. And as soon as you lose any faith that one party will behave as you've agreed, or like what seems to have happened so often, is that if a police officer shoots somebody in America, there doesn't seem to be any what's the word I'm looking for? Accountability there. There doesn't seem to be any consequences. And there's a really interesting episode, a podcast episode from More Perfect, about why it is so difficult to convict police officers of shootings in America. I don't know what the situation is here. I don't know what the law is here. But so part of it is that, isn't it? If something goes wrong, if the contract works, you have to believe that there will be consequences. And it seems as though the contract is broken and there are no consequences. And so, so then you're like, well, then why should we fulfill our side of the contract? Must be the feeling. Yeah.
And also, slightly, it's not that tangential. I'm really interested in people who are police, who go into policing. Actually, I know an ex-police person. Maybe I should ask her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's tough.
Yes. Yeah, it's a tough job.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm interested in discussions around how could we structure society without a police force, and then
Canada.
Conversations about they don't have a police force.
No, I always think about your anecdote of when you were at a Canadian festival and then the people policed.
Oh right, they policed each other. Yeah. All police.
And it was,
yes. I guess that's.
I don't know if that's desirable.
No, not necessarily. But I think it's interesting to look at the history of policing and where why police forces are put together in the first place, and where the resources go.
Even the word force is quite.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But you're right. I mean, to be a police officer is, I think, must be very often absolutely terrifying. But that's also part of the problem, isn't it? I mean, if you are already scared before you encounter a situation, you're not necessarily going to be in the best place to respond to that situation.
Yes. And also the way, sort of in certain, again, I don't know what the situation is in America, but I hear that when you recruit for the military, it's usually from poorer areas. And then that will result in a certain kind of behavior when you're armed. You're armed and you've got the ability to anyway, you know what I mean? It's sort of, are people being pushed into these jobs or pulled into them or attracted into them, and then do they get disillusioned? And then yes, if you're living in fear.
Well, and then I think questions about what are you rewarded for and what are you punished for in those jobs is a really important one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just, purely anecdotally, if you like, I am very aware of how little I am policed where I live. I sometimes see police cars go past.
Oh my
Very
God, I
rarely
saw
see
so
police
many
officers on
police
foot.
today.
Really?
So many.
Right.
And I don't have any reason to be nervous. But it creates an energy. You're like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yes.
Who's in trouble? But in terms of accountability, or what is rewarded and what is chastised, like, what was his name? John Ronson? The guy who wrote a book about psychopaths.
Oh yes, John Ronson, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the whole sort of like, the behavior of CEOs, the whole sort of like
yes,
dominance or aggression. Like, is society rewarding that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a
or it rewards it in some contexts and punishes it in others.
Yes, and so it's complex.
Yeah.
It is also 8:11.
It is. I've lost the chat box on YouTube now. I don't know, something happened.
Oh. Well, I can see it, but no one is saying anything apart from lovely. Oh my gosh, it's gone!
I don't know what's happening. So yeah, apparently we are still live on YouTube. I think we
are still live. It's just that we can't see the chat box. So sorry, guys, but I'm gonna give you my favorite takeaway.
4 minutes to take us home, Vera.
Oh no. What type of cheese do you use to hide a small horse?
Wait, what type of cheese do you use? Oh yes, okay, I know.
What?
Shall I tell you, or shall I tell you what I think it is, or shall I say, I don't know, Vera, what type of cheese should you
We'll
use?
say it together. 1, 2, 3. Mascarpone. What were you going to say?
Mascarpone.
You didn't start off with m as your first syllable.
You did. You just. I didn't want to preempt you.
Yes.
Seriously.
Mascarpone.
Very nice. What was the last one you did? 2 weeks ago?
What do you call a magic dog?
Oh yes.
A labracadabrador. Guys, stay safe, stay well, stay kind.
Yes.
We've got 2 minutes to wrap up. Okay.
We haven't talked about, so if you want to donate, there's a donations button somewhere beneath, and that money is shared between us and the Omnibus Theatre. They're doing as much as they can to keep producing stuff, to keep responding to what's going on. And this is obviously one of the things that they're doing to try and stay active during, is support us to do this.
Well, okay.
I'm very grateful.
I want to say something. So the Omnibus is amazing because they don't just like, let's program stuff that's going to make us money. Let's program things that are fashionable. What they do is like really listen and respond to their neighborhood, which is Clapham. And they are also actively listening to what's happening in the world and doing really so much, even as a small venue, to support artists who are responding to the world in an interesting, challenging, risky way. And so many venues aren't able to do that because they're big and unwieldy and have to answer to like boards and da-da-da-da. I mean, obviously the Omnibus is accountable as well, but they seem to be really, really working really hard. And we used to perform there live in the days where we could touch each other. But here we are. And if you'd like to donate to the Omnibus or to our show, the monies will go to a good cause and support more artists. So the link will be below this box. And Adrian will post a list of things that we've mentioned during
Yes.
this episode. And so you can look up things that we've mentioned, like the podcast
The
and
podcast I've talked about, and
the book.
the book and various other things. That will probably come not tomorrow, but the day after, Friday.
Yes. And one day we will be able to be technically smooth.
It might happen.
It might happen. Till then, bye.
Bye.